All right. Madam Clerk?
I have two speakers. First one is John Lloyd.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Speaking on behalf of myself, John Lloyd at 23164 Cannery Road. Read through the TUMF ordinance. Actually, it was very, very comprehensive. I was very impressed with it. The information that was included was very straightforward. There was no hidden information. It was very easy to read. I did have one question regarding it. There is a statement that as a result of the 10% decrease in fees, other funding sources will be needed to be identified for the shortfall of funds for any future projects for here in our community, and those fees that we would be losing are non-recoverable. So I'm just concerned about that. And then looking at the table on page 3, it shows a $625,000 difference between what TUMF is going to cover on our I-15 interchange and what the actual cost is currently expected to be. I was wondering if we actually have a line item in the budget to cover that, since it's such a large number. Thank you.
If I can respond. On the first question, I believe the reduction you're talking about, I think that was really about the temporary 50% reduction, which is not part of this report.
No, it's a 10% reduction between existing and what you're voting on. 9,800 versus 8,800.
Okay, but that's based on the revised cost estimates.
Right.
And so that, per their Nexus study, by reducing these fees downward, they still will collect adequate money from new development to pay their proportionate share of the roadway project, of the transportation project.
Then what is the fiscal impact here?
I think they'll be looking at their share, and then what you're looking at our share? Because we pay
Sorry.
more.
There's two different things there. My concern, I guess, is that it actually states in the fiscal impact that there will be a fiscal impact and that other funding sources are going to have to be identified. If that wasn't what was meant, then maybe that shouldn't have been what was put in there. But it gives the impression that we will definitely lose funds that we cannot recoup, funds that we need. So I'm concerned.
Could I weigh in just, if you're talking about the overpass? When the county considered this originally, they never had 100% of the funding covered. Even when we were unincorporated, that was one of my questions is, well, then what's going to happen? And Supervisor Buster's chief of staff says, we scramble. When it comes to the point where we actually are ready to construct, we scramble and we look for money from different sources to make up the difference. He says it's rare that they have 100% of the construction funding in place prior to construction.
So this doesn't impact that.
Well, I think it's been that way. At one point, it was 300,000 was a shortfall at one point in time. But do these numbers take into consideration where it talks about that the lowered price now of concrete?
It takes into account basically the lower cost of construction. And I guess I see what you're talking about now in the fiscal analysis. But the reason why they do these new Nexus studies is by law, is that new development only has to pay its proportionate share. And this is now the new defined proportionate share. So this is all that the TUMF can collect. Now with regards to I-15, and I think he also was referencing table 1 regarding the total cost for the Clinton I-15 interchange and then the TUMF share. That's the maximum TUMF share. That doesn't guarantee that the city will get that amount of TUMF funds. And actually for the Clinton I-15, there's multiple funding sources. There's the road and bridge fee as well.
RCTC's in there also.
Correct. So this only addresses the TUMF, what the maximum allowed from TUMF.
Next speaker.
Next speaker is Mark Noringa.
Good evening, Mark Noringa, Mayor and Council, thank you for this opportunity. I really, I think, have a question more than a comment. When the model ordinance and resolutions were transmitted from WRCOG, they included the recognition of the updated TUMF Nexus study, and they also recommended adoption of that number, which is approximately $8,870. But they also included a provision for a 50% temporary reduction that would expire 12/31/10. And from the comments I've heard this evening, I'm not sure that you're considering the full resolution and ordinance, or ordinance and resolutions tonight. So my question is, are you considering the full package that was transmitted, or only a portion thereof?
It's only a portion thereof. It's basically just adopting the revised fees per the Nexus study, and it is not addressing the temporary 50% reduction.
And how will that be addressed?
That will, at the request of council, come back at a future council meeting.
So what you're doing tonight is not what's been recommended by 17-1-1 vote of the executive committee, I guess.
We're taking baby steps, right?
Okay. Do you have a date that you're going to bring back the other part of the ordinance?
We're going to continue it. I would hope that it would be back in December, but we'll have to see how the calendar goes. I have a meeting on the 19th with the surrounding cities that are in this zone, and so they requested a zone meeting.
Right. You mentioned that in conjunction with 2.1. But the development impact fee is a different issue than the temporary.
Correct, but it's really about the top.
All right, thank you.
I have no further speakers.
Further speakers? Okay, at this time, did we already vote to? I need a motion to.
The resolution, 0974?
Yeah, should I close first and then vote, since we're?
Yes, you should close
Do
the
this
hearing
one?
and then. they
Okay.
can take,
So at this time, I'll close the public hearing and open it up to council comments, discussion, or motion.
Only on ordinance 38, correct?
I move to approve ordinance number 38, an ordinance of the city of Wildomar, California, approving and superseding ordinance number 824 and number 24 to update its participation in the Western Riverside County Transportation Uniform Mitigation Fee TUMF program.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? That carried 5-0. I'll need a motion for the Nexus too. Resolution 09-74.
Who you want to read it?
Okay.
Oh, well, we can have discussion after we have a motion, but we still have to,
Okay.
we can, I don't care.
I move to approve resolution number 09-74, a resolution of the city of Wildomar, California, approving the intent to consider the 2009 Nexus study, establishing a revised and updated fee schedule applicable under the Western Riverside County Transportation Uniform Mitigation Fee TUMF program.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
I just want to clarify that this is approving the intent to consider. Correct. Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? That carried 5-0.